Hello, today I'm going to answer one of your most asked questions about skincare. How do I layer my mature skincare routine? It is a fantastic question. I completely understand. I had the exact same question about 10 years ago when I was trying to put together my own anti-aging skincare routine, and it was so confusing. I was getting advice from here and there and everywhere, and I just didn't know where to start. A little of it takes some trial and error, but I'm going to go through a morning routine, an evening routine, and cover a few caveat ingredients that do and don't mix well together, including copper peptides, vitamin C, and your prescription products. And by the end of this video, I hope you have a clear idea on how to put together a really effective anti-aging skincare routine. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Cindy. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, a late in life career choice after discovering a passion for skincare in my early 50s. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and join the Beyond 50 Skin community. We have a great time here discussing all things beauty over 50. Figuring out how to layer your mature skincare routine can get really confusing really quickly. First thing I want to recommend, if you're under the care of a dermatologist or a physician and you have prescription skincare, you want to make sure you defer to their instructions and their recommendations before listening to any YouTuber, any social media, including mine. They're going to be the ones that have the right answer for your prescription medication. So I will share with you how I incorporate my prescriptions into my routines, but that might not be the way that your provider wants you to use your prescription medications. In today's video, I'm not going to be sharing specific products or specific ingredients to include in your skincare routine, because that will be completely dependent on your skin type and your particular skincare concern at the time. I will, however, list each product category in the description with my recommendations. For example, if you're looking for a cleanser for dry skin, all you have to do is tap on the link to cleansers, and there will be recommendations down below. You can also always go to my website, just click on my website link, and then you'll see skincare, the skincare tab, and you can tap on that particular tab and it will bring up all my skincare recommendations. So the description is a little bit trickier to get to these days. You have to tap more and then tap more again. YouTube is not making it easy, but I will also link my description in my comments, and I'll pin that comment at the top. So it should always be the first comment that you see. If you ever have questions on your specific skincare concerns or needs, you're welcome to leave a comment with a question. I definitely will get back to you. I'm usually able to get to absolutely every comment these days, and I really appreciate your questions. I'm going to start with my recommendations on how to layer an evening skincare routine. It's usually a little bit longer, so I thought I'd start with that one first. I always recommend a double cleanse for mature skin. The reason is we're all wearing sunscreen and some of us wear makeup. And you need to break up all that gunk off your face from the day, break that up, rinse that off, and then do a proper cleanse. You can start with a micellar water, you can start with a balm cleanser, you can start with an oil cleanser for your first cleanse. It really doesn't matter. And then your second cleanse will also depend on your skin type, usually a creamy cleanser or a gentle cleanser for dry, sensitive skin, and something maybe with an active in it for oily or acne-prone skin. After double cleansing is the perfect time to incorporate your skincare devices if you're using them. You have to use skincare devices on clean skin, so that makes sense. Also, you probably have a little bit more time in the evening than you do in the morning after cleansing. So I usually save some for the evening and some for the morning, depending on which skincare devices I'm trialing at the time. Right now, I'm doing my skincare devices in the evening, but for months and months, I was doing them in the morning. It ultimately doesn't matter, just depends on the time that you have. Just remember you have to do skincare devices on clean skin. So it just practically makes sense. The next step is exfoliation. Now, some exfoliating products may be too irritating to use after a particular skincare device, so make sure you're sort of taking that into account. But typically my third step, and not every day of the week for me because I have sensitive skin, I exfoliate with a chemical exfoliant. I don't recommend you do this 7 days a week. In fact, I personally alternate my exfoliation products about 2 to 3 nights a week. It just depends on my skin tolerance and how my skin barrier is doing. If you haven't started incorporating chemical exfoliants into your mature skincare routine, I highly recommend that you do a little research on which chemical exfoliant would be most suited to your skin type. There are all types. There's polyhydroxy acids for more sensitive skin, all the way up to glycolic acids for more tolerant skin. So if you haven't started incorporating them in, the reason you want to is because as we mature, the skin cells have a little bit harder time turning over and sloughing off. And what a chemical exfoliant will do is break up the bonds between those skin cells and leave your skin more glowing, less dull. It will really brighten up your complexion. The reason I recommend an exfoliate in your evening routine is it can tend to make your skin slightly sensitive, so your skin overnight has a chance to sort of repair. And if you do it in the morning, it can be slightly irritating. You're going to be putting sunscreen on, you're going to be putting makeup on. So it's just a better idea to do your exfoliation step in the evening. And I do my exfoliation 2 to 4 times a week right now, and I alternate it with other skin actives. If I exfoliated every evening at the 3rd step in my skincare routine, I wouldn't have a face. I would be so irritated. So you do need to pay attention to your skin barrier and choose the right exfoliant for your skin type. The next step is a mist, an essence, or a toner. I kind of lump these all together. A mist is usually for me a hydrating mist, but some of my mists are essences. They're ferment essences. So they tend to hydrate the skin. A lot of times they include ferments, which are hydrating, peptides, which are hydrating. So I kind of lump these together. You can use a toner that you pat into your skin. You can use a mister. However you like to incorporate a toner, essence, or mist, it would be the 4th step in your skincare routine. Next, you're going to consider serums. Now, I don't recommend too many serums. A couple serums that are targeted to your skincare concern is what you want. You're either dealing with hyperpigmentation typically, you're dealing with maybe some breakouts, you're dealing with fine lines and wrinkles, and there are so many serums out there to choose from. But just choose a couple and layer your serums thinnest to thickest. I find that that's the best way so that they don't pill by the end of your skincare routine. Number 6 for me is an eye cream. I did not always use an eye cream, but at 50, I started using an eye cream, and I really appreciate an eye cream with actives. The type of ingredients that you're looking for your under eye area are products with peptides, caffeine, vitamin K, hydrating ingredients, but you want to choose an eye cream sort of with some oomph to it, not just a moisturizer. If you're just going to use a moisturizing eye cream, I would skip the extra expense and just make sure you're bringing a nice layer of moisturizer up under your eye area. In conjunction with my eye cream, I usually apply my lash and brow serum at that time. It's just a good time for me to remember so I don't forget it. It really doesn't matter when you apply your lash serum in your routine, as long as it's after you do your cleansing. Step 7 is a moisturizer. You can choose moisturizers with actives, and you can choose just a moisturizer that is hydrating, that's going to seal all the ingredients of your skincare routine in. Now, I usually choose for my mature skin a moisturizer with actives, and that might be the case for you too, and then you might want to skip one of your serums. It's important to really look at the ingredients so that you're not doubling or tripling up on the type of ingredients that you're using. There's so many moisturizers out there these days that are active. And so it's a good idea to kind of peek at the ingredient list. Or if you're just using a generally moisturizer, then you can just pop that on after all of your serums. But you might save some expense by really looking at the ingredients in your moisturizer because you might already have those in your serum. The last step in your evening skincare routine is a facial oil, should you choose to use one. Clearly, not every skin type is going to agree with using facial oils. I have dry skin. My skin loves oils, especially in the wintertime when it's cold and dry. But clearly, if you live in a hot, humid climate, you're probably not going to want to use a facial oil. Completely optional, but for some of us, it's really helpful to seal in all of our skincare. And for me personally, I just wake up with more hydrated skin. I've been using castor oil recently, which I absolutely love. I'll link that video up above. At this point, some of you are probably saying, hey, you forgot about retinoids, and you forgot about vitamin C, and you forgot about copper peptides. I promise I'm going to get to those, but they're kind of special circumstances, and I'm going to show you exactly how you fit them into both a morning and an evening skincare routine if you use those type of products. Next, I'm going to move on to your morning routine. When you wake up in the morning, cleanse your skin or just rinse with water. I just rinse with water. I have very dry skin. Cleansing just strips my skin of all the goodness that's happened overnight. If I have a particular ingredient that kind of still feels tacky on my skin, I might come in with a very gentle cleanser. If you have super oily skin, kind of see what you can do to kind of get a more mild cleanser in the morning, because stripping your skin of oil actually can sometimes trigger it to produce more oil. You kind of have to play around with your morning cleanse. What will suit some won't suit others. 9 times out of 10, if I just rinse with water, it's great, because then I'm not stripping my skin of all the great ingredients that I used overnight to kind of hydrate my skin and get my skin ready for the next day. The second step in your morning skincare routine, same as in your evening skincare routine. If you're using a skincare device, this is the perfect time to fit one in on clean skin. Then your lighter formulas, your toners, your essences, your mists. They're watery, they sink right into the skin, especially if you've exfoliated the night before. Your skin is going to be totally ready to accept them, drink them right up, and they'll prep your skin for the next step, which is your targeted serums. Your targeted serums should be chosen for the skin problem that you're working on. Typically for me, it's hyperpigmentation in the morning, so I use something that includes a tyrosinase inhibitor to protect my skin from melanin production and increase dark spots. Then you're going to come in with your eye cream. If you're using one, I love an eye cream. I use one morning, I use one in the evening. I find it just makes my crepey under eyes look so much better. So I use my eye cream. If I've missed my lash serum, if I'm using my lash serum morning and evening, I apply that. And then I come in with a light moisturizer. Typically in the morning, I'll use a gel, very lightweight moisturizer, and let that all dry down and put my sunscreen on. Let my sunscreen dry down a little bit, have a cup of coffee, and then do my makeup if I'm wearing makeup that day. Now for those specialty products, the retinoids, the copper peptides, and vitamin C. How do we fit all those in? I'm going to put them under the umbrella term of targeted serums. Let's start with retinoids. Retinoids go in your evening skincare routine because they need to work overnight to resurface the skin. Some people can tolerate retinoids every night of the week. Other people can tolerate them once a week. You're going to have to do a little bit of playing around to figure out how you can incorporate retinoids into your skincare routine. And I call them retinoids, whether they are a prescription that you've been given or an over-the-counter retinoid derivative. So any way that you're using them, they're seen as a targeted serum in your evening skincare routine. You may be able to tolerate them on the same nights that you're using your chemical exfoliants. Others won't be able to tolerate both together. The key is not to damage your skin barrier. The way I do it is I do 2 to 3 nights a week chemical exfoliants, and then 2 to 3 nights a week my retinoid products, whether it's prescription or an over-the-counter product, vitamin A derivative, and then 1 night a week, I just focus on hydrating serums. So that's the way I use retinoids in my evening skincare routine. And then you might be asking, well, what about vitamin C? I've been told you can use it in the morning. I've been told you can use it in the evening. I've been told you can't mix it with such and such. All right, vitamin C can be used in the evening along with your retinoid. I know that was a huge surprise to me. Some people can tolerate that, and actually vitamin C has been shown to boost the efficacy of retinoids, but only if your skin is tolerant. Everybody is going to have a different tolerance. You might be saying, but Cindy, I use vitamin C in my morning routine to help boost my sunscreen and help with antioxidant protection. Of course, it can be a targeted serum that you use in your morning routine for those exact reasons. So you can use both vitamin C morning and evening, morning or evening. Just your preference, and just know what you can and cannot mix with it. The one thing that doesn't really pair well with vitamin C is copper peptides. They tend to cancel each other out, they oxidate, and that just reduces the effectiveness of the copper peptides. So I don't recommend using them together. So how in the world do you use them? Copper peptides are a tricky one, but as long as you don't mix it with L-ascorbic acid vitamin C, you're fine. If you're using one of the vitamin C derivatives, you can use it in the evening as one of your targeted serums. They're fine to go. I know there's a controversy, but they're fine to go. Most dermatologists agree that retinoids and copper peptides can go together as long as you don't get irritation. Copper peptides can be used on their own for anti-aging, fine lines, wrinkles. Copper peptides also don't go great with benzoyl peroxide. So if you're using benzoyl peroxide, skip the copper peptides that evening, or use them in the morning. So you can kind of play around with copper peptides, but there used to be a lot more concern about using them than there is right now. The caveat is they can be irritating, and the caveat is they can be less potent if you mix them with alpha hydroxy acids and vitamin C. I didn't mention alpha hydroxy acids before, but they don't go great with alpha hydroxy acids. Again, they tend to oxidize and not be as effective. So if you're doing an exfoliation treatment in the evening, don't use copper peptides that evening. Or if you're doing your vitamin C in the evening to boost your retinoids, don't use your copper peptides in that particular routine. But that doesn't mean you can't incorporate them throughout the week. So that wraps up all the tricky ingredients that you might run into. There may be other ingredients that you have questions about. Please leave me a comment down below on your specific questions. I will do the best that I can to figure out how they can fit into either your morning routine or your evening routine. Again, layering skincare can be a little bit tricky, but with a little bit of thought and planning, you can get all the products and the ingredients that you want to use for your anti-aging routine. It just has to be a little bit well thought out, and it doesn't have to be the same routine every day. By changing up your routine and changing which targeted serums you use, you can incorporate all your favorite anti-aging ingredients into your mature skincare routine. Thanks so much for watching, and wishing you all a skintastic day.